Okay, there he is. Did we lose Sean, or is he on here still? Oh, there he is. I see you now. All right, it is February 16th at 5:45 p.m. I'm going to call this Finance Committee meeting to order. Present are council members Lang, Harris, Bob Marmee, and Councilman Fennell sitting in for, who are you sitting in for? Oh, for Councilman Blake. First item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $1,260,704.15.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I will speak to that. When we did the budget for this year, towards the end of last year, because of COVID, we did not have our general meeting with all of our departments face to face and side by side, and the routine that sometimes would not have been probably as safe. So we did take the previous year's budget, made some adjustments as we knew, tapped out to some departments and made those adjustments. With that being said, there were some things that were needed adjusted in the budget. That's what you'll see a lot of transactions here. Some of that is from realizing all of our collections through the end of the year, which of course we didn't know when the budget was passed. Some of it we brought on 3 firefighters, and we can talk about that when it goes after the budget was passed. And then some of it was just plain adjustments. So with this, do you want to take the OPT, the budget stabilization piece, Doug, and kind of go through that on the first piece?
Yeah, we're just going to do the entire section 1. We're going to split them up section by section.
Okay, that'll be fine. So section 1 has from a better than expected collections to the end of the year. We have some unappropriated. We'd like to take and put $250,000 into budget stabilization. That's always good stuff and good. Try to save some money when we can for rainy days, as been several years since we needed that, but it was nice it was there when it did. We've got some debt service, which is a SIB loan that'll come out in other sections as it gets appropriated. We've got some capital improvements there of $400,000. That's $200,000 additional for paving, $200,000 additional for pedestrian pathways. Something that Shirley Council came forward and talked about, and we're listening. We're working on some of that on Granville Road in some areas. Workers' comp, that's something we're unaware of in civil service. It's a number that came in and we plugged in there. Temporary services. Last year's budget did not include the part-time property maintenance inspector, so it didn't get carried forward into the 2021 budget. So that is for Mr. Bob Huffman, that serves in a good capacity in that department. We've got some subscriptions with the law director. Anything with a 112 in the middle, that's going to be judicial that the courts reached out. One thing that stands out, postage. They're not having the turnout for juries as much as they'd like in the past because of COVID. So they're having to send more registered letters, and postage has gone up unexpectedly because of that. Unemployment, that is something that we never can really predict. Of course, if we didn't push it out, which we did not, but someone that had worked from us prior is coming back and reattaching on to our unemployment payments. So that's money in there that should be fine for the year with that. Licensing and maintenance of software. It's our NeoGov software that we're using in HR, some new software. Services general, a lot of that, and certainly the service director can talk to, but it has to do with a lot of the renovations being done in council chambers. And then the 205 number, that is fire. And as you go down through that, there's several things there: salary, pension, health insurance, dental, life, Medicare, workers' comp. All those have to do with the 3 positions we filled after the budget It is our part of the of all those accounts that we need to pay into. It is a grant funded, but obviously not 100%. And then finally, the last item, 106, is settlements of 35,000. That's for some law settlements that I probably, to get into more detail, would need to go into a private session for that, but are all things that are directed through the law director as is in his department. So that's all of section 1.
Okay, any questions? I have one. I just want to make sure that we have it correct. So on the spreadsheet that I was provided, all of the ones that are 205 were 204s, and they're 205 in the legislation. I just want to clarify and make sure that is correct.
Let's see, fire non-personal. Yeah, let me look here real quick for you, if you don't mind. Steve, is that for fire uniform? Uniform is 205, isn't that right? I've got to look here.
That's right.
Yeah, so they would be a 205 as is proper in the legislation. A 204 is fire non-uniform. So this is all uniform costs.
Right. Okay, I just wanted to clarify because it was different than what I was provided with that spreadsheet.
Thank you. I'll make a note of that and we'll
That's
go
fine.
through that.
Thank you.
But it's fire. Yep, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, oh yes, Mr. Lang?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make a comment to the mayor and everyone working on the budget. I really appreciate setting aside some funds for sidewalk improvements. I know that's been a topic of discussion, and we've been putting some pressure on to get that done. So really appreciate you guys setting aside some of that money. I know when we talked to our engineer, Brian Moorhead, earlier last year, you know, he needed somewhere in the ballpark of that 200,000 to really put together a paving program for sidewalks. So I think this is going to enable us to do that. So I'm really excited that we're able to set that aside. So thank you for making the effort on that.
Thank you.
I'll offer a motion.
Yeah, I'll second.
I have a motion by Bub, a second by Lang. Any further questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $220,317.15.
So that is a SIB loan that we owe a payment on. That's the principal and the payment. And again, it wasn't detailed in the budget. So that's for infrastructure improvements. I believe, Brian, is that for the overpass or where is that?
Yeah, that's for State Route 13 project that's been done for a year or two now. The new bridge over Route 16 on State Route 13 and the associated work with that.
Yeah, we got a favorable interest rate through the state, and hence what is the SIB loan and real low interest rates at the time.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Bub, second by Harris. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation amount of $36,462.41.
Yeah, this is out of the water funds, sewer and the storm funds of the next section 3, 4, and 5. This is again that same SIB loan. SIB loan was submitted for payment but didn't get put in in 2020, so we're having to do some extra payment in 2021. So it's a payment that's due in December. So that's why we're at it. It's already in this year's budget. This is the extra payment.
Okay. And these are, as he just indicated, section 3, section 4, and section 5. They're the exact same thing, for the exact same thing, but one's coming from water, one's coming from sewer, and one's coming from storm water. They're all the sibling.
Mr. Chairman, I'll offer a motion for section 3.
I'll go ahead and second.
I have a motion by Bub, second by Lang. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. I'll entertain a motion for section 4.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Bub, second by Lang. Questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. And finally, I'll entertain a motion for section 5.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Bub, second by Lang. Questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $400,000. This is just moving the street money and the sidewalk money into capital improvements into the 335 fund.
I'll offer a motion.
Second.
Motion by Bub, second by Lang. Questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $9,140. This is from probation.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah, that's the same. That's for the Justice Probation Grant. They need some money in overtime, so it's out of their 231 grant fund.
I'll offer a motion.
Second.
Motion by Bub, second by Lang. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $123,250.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, these are all judicial as signified by the 112 in the center, but the 235 is their special projects fund. And that had slipped through, but that's their special money that they collect and put into that fund for special services.
I'll offer a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Bub, second by Lang. Any questions and or discussion? I do have a question. I was wondering what the 30,000, I think the 30,000 for temp services, we weren't certain, but is that for filling in for the bailiffs when they take vacation?
Yes, and it can be, I think, for the judicial, for the judges too. We have visiting judges too, possibly. Well, of course, that's under visiting. So,
Okay.
but I believe you're right, but I'll make a note here and follow up on that, Doug.
Okay. And then the services general for 15,800. Didn't know what that was.
Yeah, and I would assume that is items that's being done based possibly around COVID, but obviously not asking for COVID dollars for it. But I'll check both those accounts and bring answers with you to council.
Okay.
For vote.
Very good. Any further questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $317,786.53.
Yeah, this is signified by the 219, our COVID-19 dollars, and you'll see section 9 is going to unappropriate, and section 10 is to reappropriate into a slightly. We're rebalancing those accounts as we're seeing how the spending is going.
Yeah, so this is for the first one. Section 9 is disappropriation.
Yes.
I think I said appropriation.
No.
I'll offer a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Bub, second by Lang. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. And now entertain a motion for the appropriation of that $317,786.53.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Bob, second by Lang. Questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. That motion passes 5-0. Then I have an appropriation in the amount of $490,000.
Yeah, these next two are $300,000 out of our sewer funds and $190,000 out of our stormwater funds. This will be some bond money that I think Steve's going to talk about maybe a little bit later on. This is for a project on Raccoon Creek. There's a sheet pile dam on Raccoon Creek near the Church Street exit, and that dam is failing. That dam protects a water line and a sewer line, and it also protects State Route 16, because if it's not in there, basically Raccoon Creek will scour and cause that bank to slide. So we're working with, in conjunction with ODOT and with the Army Corps of Engineers on this project. It's a Section 14 project from ODOT, or from Army Corps of Engineers. They are paying for the bulk of this one. We're paying about $800,000. The total project is $2.4 million. And so this is just our portion of that. We have to pay them up front, similar to an ODOT project. We have to pay them before the work starts. And then hopefully if there's money left over, we'll get some money back, but hopefully we don't have to pay more. So, that project is designed and they're ready for our funds. I believe we need to have funds to them by middle or 1st of May, maybe. And so this is what this is for. And Steve will be talking about a note, I believe tonight as well, that funds these two appropriations. The water money is coming out of our revenue bonds that we issued about a year ago, and it's due to savings on our 4th Street project, or not really savings, but money that came out of our OWDA loan that we had for a bond originally. And so that's how we're paying for the water portion of that. So.
Okay. Any questions or discussion?
I'll offer a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Bub, second by Lang. Any further questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. And have a request for appropriation in the amount of $5,600.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a firefighter that resigned, and this is his payout.
I'll offer a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Bub, second by Lang. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance to provide for the issuance of $500,000 of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying a portion of the city's cost for Horns Hill Road sanitary sewer projects and improvements and declaring an emergency.
I thought Steve was going to jump on here and talk about that, but that's what I just talked about, the $500,000 for the, am I on the right one? Yeah.
No, this is for
Oh,
the
wait,
Horns Hill.
Horns Hill, sorry, yeah, Horns Hill, yeah. This is part of the Horns Hill project, or the finalizing the Horns Hill project. This is to pay for, we're gonna take out a 5-year note for that to pay off our portion of that, that we had to pay. And so that's what this is about, paying off the sewer fund portion of that. And we wanted to pay it off over 3 or 4 years. It came in a little bit more than what we thought it was going to be. And we just wanted to kind of smooth that cost out a little bit to us. This is not the assessment, correct, Steve?
Correct.
Mr. Chairman,
Any questions and or discussion? Yes, Mr. Bob.
yeah, I will just go ahead and abstain from this ordinance 21-03.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Lang, second by Harris. Any further questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. That motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance to provide for the issuance of not to exceed $1.125 million of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of Church Street area improvements and repair, including electrical, sidewalks, streets, and streetscape, and all necessary appurtenances thereto, and declaring an emergency.
I somehow got dropped from the meeting there for a few minutes. But, this is just renewal of a note we issued a couple of years ago during the time of work being done on this 1 more year.
Any questions or discussion?
I'll offer a motion.
I'll second. And then I had a question, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I have a motion by Bob, a second by Lang, and then Mr. Lang, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Steve, you were cutting out there. I think it sounded like you were. Could you describe that again, please?
This note was originally issued a couple of years ago when work was being done on the square. This dealt with East Church Street at the end of the street, and there's still some money left from the note and a little bit more work that needs to be done. So we would like to renew this for 1 more year.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's what I thought, but it, like I said, cut out. That was much clearer.
Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance to provide for the issuance of $500,000 of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of construction of a steam bank protection project, including replacement of the sheet pile dam on Raccoon Creek, site preparation and all necessary appurtenances, and declaring an emergency.
Rogers discussed this earlier. This will fund the project for 1 year, and we'll see what needs to be done after a year's time.
Yeah, just as a note there, Doug, that should be stream bank, not steam bank. So
Okay.
I'll talk to the guy that wrote that. He probably,
Well, let me make sure on the actual ordinance. I was reading it off of the yeah, we need to change that in the ordinance, Janine. It does say steam bank, so we want stream bank. Any questions or comments? I can't remember if we had a motion.
I'll offer a motion. I don't believe there was.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Bob, second by Lang. Further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. And finally, we have an ordinance consolidating 3 bond anticipation notes issues of the city of Newark, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
This is something we've done in the past when we have relatively small notes. We'd like to combine the 3 because that makes it easier to sell on the bond market, and also we will get a better rate of interest with a larger instrument. So this just consolidates the 3 bond anticipation notes that you just addressed.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead and abstain from this as well.
Okay.
I'll offer a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Lang, second by Harris. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by thumbs up. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0 or 4-0 with 1 abstention. And that
Thank you.
concludes the Finance Committee meeting. Thank you. Next up, I believe, is service. Is that correct?
That is correct. John, you're sitting in for Jeremy, is that correct? Okay. All right, we'll call the Service Committee meeting to order. Those present are myself, Rath, Spencer Barker, Ryan Bubb, Jeff Harris, and Sean Fennell sitting in for Jeremy Blake. Up first, we'll consider ordinance 21-07, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 166 Hudson Avenue, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, from that of MFR, Multifamily Residence District, to MB, Medium Intensity Business District, zoning code of the City of Newark, Ohio. And Mr. Hall, Mayor Hall, are you
Yes, sir.
speaking to this? You're just the only one I see on camera.
Mr. Rhodes will speak up.
There you go, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We ask that you send this on to Planning Commission so we can get a good look at this and come up with a recommendation back to council.
All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Does anybody have a motion to send this on to planning? Commission?
I'll make the motion to send to planning commission.
I'll second that.
Motion by Barker, seconded by Bub. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of sending this on to the planning commission signify with a thumbs up. All opposed, same sign. That motion will carry forward with a vote of 5-0. That concludes the service committee meeting. Up next will be personnel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
We will start the personnel committee meeting in approximately 1 minute. Okay, it is 6:16. We'll call this personnel committee meeting to order. Those present are myself, Ryan Bubb, Councilman Labutus, Councilman Lang, Councilman D. Hall, she is here, okay, along with Sean Fennell. This is an ordinance amending, it's ordinance 21-02. It's an ordinance amending the position classification, pay range, and department authorization tables of the City of Newark Department of Service Division of Cemetery Parks by creating the classification of operations manager and setting the compensation therefore. Human Resources Director Bill Spurgeon.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. The piece before you seeks the legislative body's support to create an additional layer of supervision in the Department of Public Service, Division of Cemeteries. If we look at the administration's commitment to both beautification and the cemetery, the parks, the downtown activities, the appointing authority believes, I agree, that this is appropriate and certainly encourage the committee's support. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Lang, proceed, please.
Yeah, thank you. Bill, could you walk through what is the impact to the budget on this change?
So through the chair to Mr. Lang, this will be a position that's funded twofold in legislative, and there may be a nonprofit entity that will participate as well. But the idea the administration has is 67% out of the Superintendent Lumen's funds, the other 33% out of Director Rhodes's funds. The salary would be 53, just north of 53,000 on the position description. I would encourage you to roll up about another 25%, so total impact right around 67K. And that would be the financial model for this position.
Does anyone else have any further questions or comments regarding this ordinance? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor by Mark Labutus, a second by Jonathan Lang. Any further questions, comments regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, all those in favor of moving this on to full council can signify with a thumbs up. All those opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you,
Best
Mr.
wishes
Chair,
on
member
that.
of the committee.
Yep. Thank you. With that, we will stand adjourned and